Nico forced me to spend so much money, I think to be taken to jail.
Guys, my name is Allie. I'm here with Real Talk and Reviews. First of all, I just wanted to say I'm so excited to talk to you guys. I've been a huge admirer of both y'all's works. And yeah, I'm just so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. So I got to watch the first three episodes and I absolutely love it. You guys were cracking me up, like a really funny dynamic duo. I just wanted to know, do you guys have any like fun memories that y'all share from when you were filming the show together?
I mean,
I mean,
something that we can actually share on.
I will say for these things come together so quickly. I'm used to doing, or I have done, we've both done 22 episodes. This was 8.
Yeah.
And I think everybody came together really nicely. We got to a little bit of hanging out, like not a ton because there's a lot of work, but you quickly find your sort of routines. And Nico and I both love to shop and find good restaurants. And so we kind of tried every weekend to get together and, explore Toronto. And we just fell into a really nice routine. It was so fun. And I hope we get to do more.
I know it seemed very familiar once we were outside in
Yeah.
the set and just like, oh, let's try on this bag and eat really good sushi.
Nico forced me to spend so much money, I think to be taken to jail.
There's always like the bad influence friend. Yeah. Makes you
I'm
spend.
really good at spending other people's money.
I had nothing to do with it.
Honestly, what I remember from shooting is just being like so deliriously tired at the crack of dawn and just laughing and giggling and having the best time. We had a couple crazy moments too, like my hair caught fire, you hit yourself, you almost died in heels.
Oh, my
Like we all just had crazy funny moments.
We had one where we were like, oh, actually, I don't know if it's a spoiler.
Don't spoil,
Slip and
don't
dial.
spoil, don't do
With
it.
purple thing.
Oh,
yeah.
there's a lot of smoke.
Like, tune in for the purple thing.
Yeah.
The purple thing.
Oh my gosh, I'll know eventually.
You
Yeah.
will.
Oh, you'll know. And you'll think about this
I
moment.
feel like I know exactly what
Like-
they're talking about.
I'll go back to this. I will know. Well, I would first just like to know kind of what sparked the idea to kind of have this like generational gap rivalry show that you were doing.
So the idea came about Tubi was looking to do their first scripted series, and they were sort of floating around this idea of a workplace comedy and an exploration of generations. And I met with them, and I just felt like I saw the show super clearly. I had a bunch of characters that I really wanted to do. And so I talked with them and pitched this show to them. And listen, they were cool enough to go, okay. So that's really how it came about. And then the generational thing, that was definitely something that they really wanted to highlight. And then personally, I don't know, I just have a lot of generational friendships. I have a lot of friends that are all different generations. And it's something that I find that there's a lot of comedy in. And also everyone I talked to is dealing with this in their workplace, kind of the difference between Gen Z and millennials and Gen X. And so I was like, okay, I feel like I see this and I get this. And it was a blast to do.
I really like what you said about, people you work with, everyone's different ages. Like my boss is 30-year-old man who, me and my other like 20-year-old coworker, we're teaching him like Gen Z slang all the time. And it's just so funny to like see, and we're picking up stuff from him too.
Yeah, workplaces are great because they're kind of the only place where you will suddenly find yourself with a 60-year-old best friend named
Exactly.
Pam. Like it's really fascinating. So that was something that I really wanted to explore. Like every job I've ever had, I always had like a really good friend there who was like in their 50s or 60s, and we would go out, and it's great. A workplace is kind of the only place you can do that.
Exactly. My aunt is in her 60s and she's always, when she comes to visit, she's like, you got to get me the latest slang, the latest things that people are talking about online so I can go back and look cool with my younger.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a lot of that on this job. My writer's assistant was Gen Z, and we had some Gen Z writers, and they were sort of like trying to help me along, and they were very gentle with me. And they were like, hey, we don't say that anymore. And it was like, okay, cool, cool, cool. Got it. Like I was all of a sudden on the other side.
The show does dive into like kind of the generational gaps or like differences that are between different generations within the workplace. And so I was wondering if there was anything you guys learned or that pointed out that was pointed out to you guys while you were working with the showrunner, Katie, or with Lauren and Nico?
For
Katie's
sure.
amazing, great showrunner, great writer, as well as the writing staff. I can talk for hours about how great Nico and Lauren were to work with. But the interesting thing, at least in the writing of this series, is that you see how similar the generations are, as much as they have their own quirks. Like Gen Z might want to be a bit more comfier, work from home, and all that. As far as when it boils down to who they really are and what they believe in, there's a lot of similarities. And I think as the series goes on and towards the finale, you get to see that and kind of see them connect more on that too, and realize we're not so different, you and I.
Yeah.
We're not so different after all. That's so true. Did you come up with that
I think I
phrase?
just thought of that now.
That's smart.
No, I love that. I just spoke to Katie before I got into this call, and she's so funny. She was telling
Did she
me,
say anything about us?
yes, she loves you guys.
Which, in like one of us in particular.
Yeah, like,
More than the rest.
Yeah, she was ranking everyone. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
We'll talk
Can you tell us now?
I knew it.
But yeah, she and I were talking about, like once you like boil it down, like you were saying, everyone is very similar. Like, I did have a fun question for you. Was there any Gen Z slang or lingo that maybe you picked up while filming that you were like, oh, okay, I could use this in my everyday, speaking, or I'm never gonna say this ever?
So there was a brief period where I tried. And somehow, instead of me seeming cooler, I somehow aged up to like a 56-year-old like Midwestern aunt who was like trying to use like Riz or no cap. And I always found myself like throwing shoulders in, and everybody was like, stop. Like, just don't try this anymore. But I did have, do you know, okay, are you Gen Z?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know about this thing called Sunny Angels? Do you know
Yes, like the toy.
Okay, the toy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So my writer's assistant got me a Sunny Angel, and she was like, it's a Gen Z thing, and I have it on my computer. But for people who don't know, I don't really know how to explain it, so maybe you can help me. But
Oh, yeah. It's like
my
a
Sunny,
figurine.
it's like a little, they're collectors.
I think so. Yeah.
They're little babies that have fruit as heads.
Yes, and there's like collectors ones. Like I've seen in New York, they're like, taxi drivers or something really random. Yeah.
Yes. So my writer's assistant gave me a Sunny Angel that's this like baby. It's a naked baby that has a tomato as a head, and I have it on my laptop. Anyways, long story short, I recently left my laptop on a flight, and they were asking me to identify it, and I was a full-grown woman at the desk, and I was like, it's a MacBook Air. And I was like, and there's also a little naked baby with a tomato head hanging off of it. And they were like, okay, ma'am. Like, that was a moment where I was like, I think I just need to stop being Gen Z. I think I just need to let it go.
That is, it's a great way to identify something though.
Thank you for that kindness.
What are the odds?
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
else would have that exact one on their laptop. I thought it was really funny. And I think it was your character was like, we don't say girl boss anymore. Like you
Yeah.
character. Is there any slang that I guess is maybe more centric to Gen Z that you guys tried to use during this and you were like, oh my gosh, I never want to say that again? Or were there some where you were like, oh wait, I actually could see myself trying to use this in a sentence?
I was gonna say salutations, but is that Gen Z?
Yeah.
Salutations.
I think it got cut.
Oh,
No, wait, actually, I don't know. My character goes salutations at one point, and that was something I did in the show that I thought, well, I'm certainly not going to bring this to my life.
We
No
incorporated
slang?
a lot of our own
Oh.
language that
Yeah.
would let us say, or someone would be like, how do you feel about this word? Or what's the Gen Z version of this word? And then we would give feedback on that. So
Yeah.
we did a bit of that.
But there are definitely like things that we would say, not related to Gen Z, that we're like, I never want to say that, like, hey, I got the-"
Hey, I got the job.
Yes.
So like stuff like that, but nothing specific to like Gen Z, just because it's in my vocabulary now.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I want to hold on to it for as long as I can.
You're a writer, you're an actor, and you're the showrunner. What was it like kind of juggling all these different hats, being like the head writer and, kind of the lead on this, but also coming from an acting background?
It was a mistake. It's a very dumb job that is so stupid and so much work, but I'm dumb and I love it. Like I absolutely, like there's nothing cooler to me than coming up with an idea that is just in my brain and putting it on paper and seeing it all the way through, where all of a sudden they're building sets and costumes. And I loved wearing all the hats. It's my favorite thing in the world to do. I would do this job for free. And so I really loved it. It's really fun because you get your hands in everything. And I feel like a true creator where you get to say, I think that should be this color. I think that costume should look like this. So I love it. I would do it 100 times over.
Lauren, I saw you were an executive producer of the show as well. So I just love to know what it was like to kind of wear different hats while you were, of course, acting in the show. And then, you were on maybe the more businessy side of it with the producing.
I mean, that can mean so many different things. And I think you find how best to contribute. What it meant to me, at least starting the show, is that I felt more secure that I would be a collaborator and a creative partner and just be able to, have some more input. I think that's what we all strive for as actors. Once you get to a certain point, you've done a couple of shows, you just want to be part of the conversation. And so, Katie at times would say, do you want to see this? Do you want to see that? And after we got started, getting started was the most active in the producer space in terms of I was there for some of the casting and some of the kind of, design decisions. And then it's just treat me as your partner, call me if you need me. And yeah, it was just really fell into a nice collaboration really quickly.
I wanted to end with, I just graduated in past spring from UT with a film degree. And yes, thank you. And, being a woman in film, I'd just love to know if you have any advice for people, my generation, Gen Z, or, anyone who's trying to break into this industry right now.
You should never take advice from me. But the advice I do have is nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody's lying. You know what you're doing and just trust your gut, because at the end of the day, like, I think we all have this instrument that guides us creatively and what we're supposed to be doing. And I think that's the only thing you need to listen to and just work really hard.
I love that answer. I feel like, everyone's just figuring it out as they go, which is something I've learned in the, 4 years.
Everybody's lying. And there's kind of a comfort in that, because like we all feel like liars. Like we all feel like, I don't know what I'm doing, but everybody knows nobody knows what they're doing.
It's yeah.
Yeah. Watch everybody else be like, we do know what we're doing. That woman doesn't know what she's doing. But I think, just trust your gut. Yeah.
It's cool to see people similar to my age, making it, being on really big TV shows and stuff. So any advice you guys have for a lot of our readers are trying to get into the film industry. So if there's any advice you guys would like to share, I'd love that.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
I love that.
That was the biggest thing that my manager Antonia gave me when I met her a decade ago. And fight for it as long as you want to fight for it. I think just don't give up. Because it's bound to happen if you're doing it forever. That's how I view it. And just believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, then no one else will. You know what I mean? You got to be your best friend. So that's what I got.
I like the saying that. And it's kind of cliche, but I think it's really true, especially in the arts. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. So especially if a lot of your viewers or readers are aspiring to do things like that, as long as it's something they're truly passionate about, it'll never feel like work. So when it's hard, if it's hard, you can push through it, because, I think it like you said, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it takes time and perseverance. But if you love it, your odds are far better.
Yeah.
Be nice to everyone.
Amen.
Because you don't know just to be a good person, but also you never know who pops off. So stick around and be kind and cool.
I'm gonna second that. Be a person, be a human person. And then outside of that, something I wish I knew when I was just a wee babe starting out in this industry, learn the business side of it and get a mentor. Find people ahead of you at the same level as you. Mentee, mentor, the whole 9 yards, all of it.
And also, I feel like don't be afraid to ask questions, to be honest. Ask anybody anything.
Ask anybody anything ever.
Hold on, anything.
Anybody, anything, everything, everywhere, all at once.
I recently graduated from film school in Texas.
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. And a lot of our readers for this outlet, are aspiring filmmakers wanting to go into film and TV. And I just love to know if you guys have any words of wisdom or advice to maybe Gen Z as they start to enter the workforce.
I mean, for me, it's like nobody wants to work with a jerk. So
Yeah.
just be nice and be professional, be prepared when you step into whatever work situation that you're in. Yeah, that's
I think too, there's something to knowing your position historically speaking, which is only to say if you've gone to film school, you probably saw a lot of movies not of this time. And I think that's helpful for actors as well to just know the craft you're pursuing and be a geek about it. Like, know other performances, watch everything there is to watch. I think you get so much by ingesting material. Like you can't play something you haven't lived. So I think you just get as much creative inspiration as possible.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. That was one of the number one things they told us in school was to be nice to people and watch as much as you can. And I loved that you said be a geek about it. I totally resonate with that. But I think that's all the time I have with you guys today. But thank you so much for having me. This was a real pinch me moment. It was so fun meeting you guys. And congratulations on the show.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very
That's
much.
really sweet. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you. Have a nice day, guys.